Hi everyone, Patrick Presswar here. I just came back from a run, and usually what happens during my runs is I think of things, and I have to keep track of what I think of, otherwise I lose it in my short-term memory. That's just the way I am. But before I went out for a run, I was thinking about writing an article on customer service. So while I was running, I was thinking about what I was going to write about and things like that. And the way my mind usually works is, or the way I learn things is, I question what I'm trying to learn about. So, for example, customer service, I was questioning why customer service, and how do we get people to have a customer service attitude. And usually, you'll find articles on 10 tips for this and 5 tips for that and things like that. And really, that doesn't resonate with me, because what really resonates with me is why things are the way they are. So, for example, when it comes to customer service, really I'm asking is, how do you develop a customer service environment? How do you develop a customer service attitude? So that's really what I want to discuss. And I started questioning that even more, and really what I came to the conclusion was that I had to take a step back and look at why we want to get to that point. So what I'm going to be talking about today is actually behaviors, measures, and values. And you'll see the link between the three and how they lead to customer service in a few seconds, but please bear with me. So let's just take a look at behaviors first. So for example, one of the things that I learned in my life as a consultant was that what you measure gets done. Okay? What you measure gets done. So basically what I'm saying here is, if you're able to measure something, you will be able to drive a desired behavior. And if you look at me, for example, I run, and when I run, I always run with a reason. So I have a plan. I have a plan to train for marathons. I have a plan to train for 2 or 3 marathons in the fall, for example. And I have my schedule laid out for me. So I have a reason to train. And when I'm looking at my plan, I'm measuring my progress on that plan, so I'm actually getting the results that I want, because I'm following and I'm measuring. So what gets measured gets done, okay? Now, the other thing that's interesting is what doesn't get measured doesn't get done. So people are working on things that they're being measured on. So if you want to really influence the behaviors, you have to be able to measure something that will drive the behavior that you want, okay? The other aspect is we measure what we value. We measure what we value. And this is a quote from Michael Harry. We measure what we value. So what I'm saying here is, if you value something, you will measure it. Now, one of the problems that we have in corporate, in companies, is that people have a perceived value, or what they think their values are, and what their real values are. And often there's a disconnect between the two, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But we measure what we value, okay? For example, me, my values are commitment. My values are social responsibility. And also I have value for my health, my fitness. So these 3 values are very important to me. Now, my health is important to me because I have young children, and I want to be an active father. I want to grow up, and I want them to grow up and have me being a part of their lives, their active lives. I don't want to be, the couch potato dad that watches them playing soccer on the sidelines, having a beer, that kind of thing. No, I want to be part of their life. I want to be part of their active life. I have a long bucket list of things that I want to do, and a lot of them are physically demanding things. So I want to make sure that I have a long life, long and healthy life, so I take care of my body in that regard. Commitment is another important value for me. So when I commit to something, I commit. And I do everything I can to make sure that I deliver. That's very important for me. And I also demand that of people around me. So if somebody commits something to me, I expect them to deliver as well. And the last value that I find important to me is social responsibility. I want to leave this place, leave this earth, knowing that I've contributed to make it a better place. And the 3 of them I do together, and I'll get to that in a little bit later in the video, but the 3 of them I find intertwined together very nicely for me in my chosen lifestyle and what I'm doing. But what I wanted to really talk about is look at what you think your values are, for example. We do an exercise with executives in companies, which is write down in one column what your values are, your company values, for example, and write down in the other column what your measures are. And do you find that they're actually meshing together, or is there a disconnect? Is what you're measuring actually reflecting of what your values are? And oftentimes there's a disconnect there. Okay. So let's take, for example, somebody that's in network marketing or internet marketing or network marketing or affiliate marketing or that type of thing. Oftentimes they'll have values that they want to express, and they use a lot of copywriting. So what's going to happen is you outwardly express what you inwardly believe. You will project what you believe. You will project what you value. Okay. So what happens is that people that are writing copy, even though they may be writing copy for something that is for a particular niche that has a different value than what they believe, what they're actually writing is reflective of their values. So sometimes there's a disconnect there between them and their niche. The other problem that can arise is if they're trying to write in the values of their niche, so they're not driving, there's not a congruency there, and there's a believability factor that doesn't appear. So there may be a problem there. So really you have to look at finding a niche that is in line with your values, so you don't have that problem of believability and seamlessness. Okay. So let's look at one more thing now. So we talk about values driving your measures, driving your behaviors. Now I wanted to lead back to customer service. So I'm sorry I would have been on a tangent there, but if a company is, or if you are customer facing, it's very important that customer service be one of your values. Okay, and this is critically important, because if it's not one of your values, then you won't be measuring. And if you're not measuring, then you're not driving those customer service types of behaviors. Okay, so if you are a customer service oriented company, like a travel agent, for example, customer service is key, because if you don't have that customer service, they're expecting a personalized service, they will go get it elsewhere, guaranteed. Okay, so if you're not measuring customer satisfaction, if you're not measuring returns, or if you're not measuring customer loyalty or returning customers and things like that, then that's indicative that it's not really a core value of yours. So maybe you have to rethink about how you are measuring and what your values are in terms of customer service. Okay, so remember, values are reflective of what you're measuring, and if you're not measuring what you think your values are, maybe you have to re-question your values, and what you're measuring is going to influence your behaviors. Okay, so I really hope this was clarifying for you. That gives you a little hint on how to align yourself so you're harmonious and you're in sync. And please leave your comments and get back to me. It's been my pleasure. Patrick Portsmore signing off. Cheers.